Astrology Boutique with your energy forecast for Saturday, February 11th. So today we have the moon moving out of this Libran energy at 11:42 a.m., going void, of course, and locking into Scorpio energy at 1:36 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So let me just say that when we move out of this Libran energy and into Scorpio energy, it is very intense. It is very emotional. We go from trying to stay in the shallow end of our emotions in this Libran energy to wanting to dive to the deepest depths of our heart, our soul, our spirit, our experiences in the Scorpio energy. People do not favor when the moon is in Scorpio because it's very intense. We tend to have to dabble in the shadow realm of our experiences, our thoughts, our feelings, in order to have a true aha moment of transformation in our heart space, in our head space, in our being. So we always kind of feel the drop into our emotions when we are moving out of the light and fluffy, airy mental plane and diving into the depths of our soul in the Scorpio energy. So we have that to look forward to. Not to mention, today we have Mercury moving into Aquarius energy. That is going to be such a positive shift for us. If you haven't listened to the astro forecast that I put out, definitely go ahead and take a listen, because this is going to help us for the next couple of weeks. And we definitely need a change in our mental plane after being in Capricorn energy since the beginning of December. So we have 10 different aspects here today, and 8 of them involve the moon. The moon, while still in this Libran energy, is going to make a very awkward interaction with Neptune, who is in Pisces energy. Now, this awkward interaction provides us with a little bit of insight, a little bit of a choice point, a little bit of an opportunity to learn. The moon in Libra, again, emotionally trying to find peace, balance, harmony within oneself, especially due to the current circumstances, the adjustment period that we're in. Neptune energy, focused on our dreams, focused on our visions, focused on our higher self, our intuition, our creativity. Now, I love Pisces and Libran energy because Pisces energy, it's a water sign. It's very creative, very imaginative, very tapped into what could be. And the Libran energy, of course, ruling over the intellect, has the logic and practicality to throw at it to keep us stable, to keep us balanced in how it is that we could go ahead and actually formulate a realistic plan for some of these dreams and some of these visions. Now, what I will say is that our intuition is very strong, and the intellectual part of this Libran energy wants to bring those intuitional insights in and really just kind of sort through them in a logical, practical fashion in our intellect, dropping it down into our heart space, making sure that we are staying in a sense of peace and harmony and balance as we allow this new information, this new knowledge to actually come into our awareness, into our being. The moon goes ahead, bumps into Venus in a very positive way. Venus, of course, rules over Libran energy. Venus is in Pisces energy. And again, we have this Pisces and Libran energy working very well with one another. Venus, of course, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, money, and this Piscean energy, she's in love with love. She's wearing those rose-colored glasses. She's focused on the positives in life. Yeah, she might be a little bit delusional, especially where her relationships are concerned, and we're just not really wanting to focus on the boredom and the discontentment and the uneasiness that we're feeling in particular relationships. All is well in this particular aspect. And emotionally speaking, we are kind of building on this fantasy, this romanticized version of our reality on what it is that we want, we need, we desire to continue to feel in balance, to feel the peace, to feel the harmony, to feel the compromise in our personal relationships, really kind of focused on the give and take of manipulating the energy exchange within our relationship dynamics. Now at 6:22 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information and communication, is just going to blast into this Aquarian energy. Thank goodness. Now, in Capricorn energy, we were very tunnel visioned and worried on the negative narrative. In Aquarian energy, any of the blockages, any of the challenges, any of the restrictions that came into our mental plane, into our awareness, while in that Capricorn energy, that we went retrograde in, we are going to be able to problem solve. We are going to be able to break through them. We are going to be able to just free ourselves from some of the limiting thoughts that definitely took over us while we were in that Capricorn energy. Like I mentioned, go get the full story in that astro forecast. Now, the moon is going to trine, make a beautiful harmonizational energy with Saturn, Mr. Karma himself. Mr. Karma himself is very focused on what it is that we have to kind of take responsibility for, new roles and responsibilities that we're bossing up into in order to take the power and the control back in our lives so that we can actually start putting the pieces together on how it is that we're going to get out of this current situation and how it is that we're going to move closer to the situation that is absolutely more desirable at this time. We are seeing where it is that we can kind of lift our attitude, lift our vibration, and not be so weighted down by the roles and responsibilities, by the tasks and the chores that are currently on our plate. And that Libran energy, again, just wants to keep us in the shallow end of our experiences. And it's a good thing because Saturn, he always brings some heaviness and weight with him, but he's not bringing the negative narrative this time. We are positive, we are confident, we are flipping the script and trying to make the best out of some of the very heavy situations and circumstances that we are currently facing. The moon is going to bump into Mars in not the nicest way. Mars, of course, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desires, is in Gemini energy. Now, the moon in Libra, air energy, Mars in Gemini, air energy. The problem here is Gemini energy, represented by the twins, very divided, very polarized in its thoughts and its ideas and its opinions. We have the indecisiveness of Libran energy really pushing us into a state of uncomfortability when it comes to formulating a plan on what it is that we want to take action on. Suddenly, we're not so certain. Suddenly, we are very defensive, very aggressive in trying to defend our ideas, but still just not sitting pretty in our emotional realm. To add on to this discomfort, we have the moon in Libran energy entering into the boxing ring and squaring off with Pluto, the great transformer himself, who is in Capricorn energy. So Libran energy, Capricorn energy, they don't typically get along too well. Earth energy, air energy, the furthest elements apart. We have a lot of space in between those two elements in order to bridge that gap. Emotionally speaking, we are being rocked. Emotionally speaking, we are being thrown into the darkness. That's what Pluto does. He throws us into our darkest thoughts. He throws us into our darkest emotions and memories in order for us to flip the script and see things from a different light. The Libran energy, although we are looking for a grounded point, peace, harmony, balance, we tend to find that through the extremes. And right now, this is definitely an extreme. So we're feeling passive aggressive, we're feeling indecisive, we're not sure which way we should go, we're not sure if we have what it takes to do what is necessary in order to basically create a brand new reality for ourselves. All of these fears, all of these doubts, all of these insecurities are alive and well just in time for the moon to go void, of course. And like we talk about, when the moon goes void, regardless of what sign it's in, there's always an uneasiness that takes over. An uncertainty, an instability, if you will. We have Mars sextiling, which is a beautiful energy, with Chiron, the wounded healer. This is essentially putting us in a spiritual warrior type of position where we, in our mental plane, have decided that, guess what? We are tired of feeling the fear, the doubts, the insecurities. We are tired of questioning whether or not we are making the right decisions. We are tired of sitting on the fence about things. This particular energy is pushing us to take the lead, to take charge, to step into our power, to really heal from some of these insecurities, these fears, these doubts. This is pushing us to transform our thoughts, transform our emotions, transform our attitude, and really align with a new mission, a new purpose. Now, also, let me just mention, sometimes anger and frustration can be a beautiful source of fuel. And right now, we're getting a little bit frustrated and agitated with our lack of decision, with our lack of peace and harmony and stability, our lack of progress, then maybe we have to tap into that forceful energy of anger, frustration, agitation, and aggression in order for us to light a fire underneath our ass, to actually boss up, to take these challenges on, to not let these negative thoughts and negative emotions paralyze us, and into not taking action and changing our realities. And maybe this is just what leads us into a new path, a new direction, a new mission, a new calling, a new purpose. The moon, while still in Libran energy, moments away from shifting into Scorpio energy, is going to make a harmonious aspect with Neptune, who is in Pisces. What we get here is like an aha moment of inspiration, an aha moment on where it is that we want to shift into the positive, shift into the perspective, the understanding that we are going to charge forward, that we are going to bring some of our visions and dreams to life, that we are listening to our higher selves, that there is a mission, there is a purpose, there is a calling, and that we are ready to follow where it is that our essential guides are asking us to move into a different direction. 1:36 p.m., the moon shifts into Scorpio energy. Now we are game on. This is very intense, very motivating, very inspiring, mostly through a lot of the negative thoughts, a lot of the negative emotions that we're just tired of sitting in. But sometimes that is where the greatest change and transformation is needed. What we get here, the very first aspect that the moon in Scorpio is going to make, is getting into the boxing ring and fighting it out with Mercury, who is just fresh in Aquarius energy. This is the first aspect that Mercury is going to make, and it is not a favorable one because our heart space, which is the moon, our head space, which is Mercury, we're not on the same page, but we're about to get there. How are we going to get there? We're going to fight it out. What are we going to fight about? Well, first of all, we got to get in the boxing ring and hash it out. The moon in Scorpio is super intense. We're super motivated to make a change and to really transform our inner realm, knowing that that is the first step in order to change our outer realm. And Mercury, who is just trying to get his bearings here in this Aquarian energy, Scorpio energy, Aquarian energy, what do they have in common? They're both fixed signs. And this would pose a problem because fixed signs don't like to change, right? But we're in a state of transformation here. We got to get in and battle it out. Now, Mercury, being in this Aquarian energy, is a visionary. We're able to problem solve. We're able to free ourselves from those limiting beliefs. But guess what? The limiting beliefs that we've been in since December, because Mercury has been in Capricorn energy, they've done a number on our emotions. And as you may know, we have to alter our psyche, tweak our perspective and understanding before we can alter the way that we feel about it, before we can get our heart and our head on the same page, before we can engage the physical body to take action and manipulate our outer realm to replicate what it is that we've already arrived at as a solution in our inner realm. So the moon and Mercury, our heart and our head, getting into the boxing ring, fighting out the differences so that we can get on the same page and recognize what needs to change the fastest, the quickest, the most. The moon goes ahead, bumps into Venus. Venus is in Pisces energy. The moon is in Scorpio energy. It's water on water. What does water do? Well, it brings up a lot of emotion. It cleanses us from some of the hurt and the pain and the wounds that we've accumulated. Mostly, it transforms us. Water is the only element that can be very fluid enough to go from a liquid to a solid to a gas and then back to a liquid once again. This is why when we enter into water energies, we go through all the cycles, all the processes over and over again until we are purified to move on to the next form in which we are going to take. Venus being in Pisces energy, like I said, she's in love with love. She's wearing those rose-colored glasses. Yeah, she's trying to renew herself and refresh herself and have a good outlook on life. But this is a negative interaction. And there is no bullshit with Scorpio energy. And the moon being in Scorpio energy needs us to go down to the deepest, darkest depth of our emotion, of our psyche, of our memories, of our experiences, and unearth the unconscious parts of ourself that we know are playing in the background in our unconscious programming, dictating the reactive patterns in which we're taking into our lives, into our daily aspects. And what we're doing right now is we're cutting the crap. What we're doing right now is we are forcing Venus to really take a good look at what it is that she is unsatisfied with in her life. What is not bringing her happiness? What is not bringing her joy? Who is not bringing her happiness and joy? Why? Because she's in Pisces energy. We got to cut some cords with some soul contracts to free her up to align with like-minded people with new soul contracts that are going to be very encouraging and supportive when she moves into Aries energy. So what are we going to do? We're going to break it down. We're going to beat it down. There is no running. There is no avoidance. There is no detachment. There is no running from the way that we feel. And the way that we feel is very intense right now, very passionate right now. We are moving inward and flipping tables until we can understand where the darkness is hiding, because we understand within us that the pain, that's actually a source of power. It's not a weakness. It's not a vulnerability. That is our source of strength. That is our source of power. We just have to figure out where the pain is hiding. We have to understand where the darkness is hiding in our thoughts, in our memories, in our experiences, in our heart space. Why? Because that darkness is light. It can be new information that provides an enlightenment to our awareness. But we got to flip the tables. We got to unearth it. We got to see where it is that it's hiding out. We have to illuminate it to our awareness, to our attention, so that we can transform it into something that works for us instead of something that is going to work against us. And a lot of this has to do with the safety, the security, the stability, the happiness, the joy that many of us are not feeling in our lives, and who is contributing to that. We got to figure out who and what is going to stay and who and what has got to go.